Welcome, welcome, welcome to those of you who are coming in. Thank you for being here. Welcome, welcome. We're going to get started very soon. Thank you for signing up and joining us today. Alrighty. And those of you who are coming in, want to kick us off. I am your host for today, Antoine Johnson, Program Success Director with National Fatherhood Initiative. And today we're going to be talking about all things related to National Fatherhood Initiative's 24/7 Dad program. Again, really glad to have you on today. And whether you've been working with dads, walking with dads, doesn't matter, for decades, or you just started, we're going to have a good time. We're going to share some information with you relative to the 24/7 dad. So you'll have everything you need to know in order to move forward with your decision. So here we go. Before we get in, oh, Justin, I'm so sorry. Let me slow down just a little bit. I think I had a little bit too much caffeine today. I'll let you take over from here with your housekeeping items.
No problem at all, Antoine. Just a very, very quick thing for me. All right. Firstly, greetings, everyone. Welcome to our All About the 24/7 Dad webinar. So, my name is Justin. Again, I am NFI's Marketing and Training Coordinator. And today I have the pleasure of supporting this training with you. And, well, our host for today, the very handsome Antoine Johnson, as you've met him. And he is National Father Initiative's Program Success Director. And also with us, our NFI staff who will assist us with any questions and answers that you may have during this webinar. That would be Miss Melissa Byers and Eric Vezery. Now that I know we are excited to learn, but before we start, I'd like to take this moment to go over simple logistics and housekeeping for a smooth webinar for everyone today. So we will be together from now up until 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So for the best experience, we do recommend that you close any unnecessary applications and ensure that you have a stable internet connection. Also, please ensure that your mic is on mute during this webinar. This webinar, as you might know, is being recorded and will be made available to everyone within a few working days. Also, if you have questions, please use the Q&A box, which is found below your video. We will address as many questions as possible in that box during the webinar. If there are any unanswered questions, we will reply to you in an email after the webinar. And once your Q&A question is answered, it will also be available for everyone in this webinar to view. You can also use the chat function to share your thoughts and interact with other participants. That said, please refrain from using the Q&A box like the chat box. And also, if you put your questions in the chat, there's a chance that we might not be able to see it. So again, please put your questions in the Q&A box. And if you'd like, feel free to introduce yourself and where you are from what organization you are from in that chat box below and introduce yourself. After the webinar, you will receive a brief survey, and we ask that you please take a few moments to let us know your thoughts and suggestions about the webinar that we have today. And we would highly value your feedback. I know that we are scheduled to end at 4 p.m. Eastern Time today, but we will also have an extra 10 minutes to answer your questions about the program or anything that you've learned today. If you want to stay for that, feel free to do so. Without further ado, Antoine, you may take it away.
All right, thank you, so much. Let's see some hand emojis or reactions in there for Justin. He says that I'm the handsome one, but everyone knows that he's the best looking one at NFI. So without further ado, let's get started. And I'm loving the interaction in the chat box. In fact, before we jump into our mission and vision here at NFI, we have a quick poll question to get you guys started. All right, for those of you who are preparing for the holiday season, the fall weather, all those kind of things out there, we have a quick little fun poll question for you guys. We can throw that right up, Justin. Yeah. So we want to know. We want to know what's that thing that gets you excited about this time of year, the season, right? Like, is it spending time with family? I'm seeing some of that. Is it taking some time off to relax? Hopefully you're not taking fake sick time or something like that. But is it sipping those warm, special, expensive drinks at your favorite coffee shop? We want to know. So I'm seeing a lot of spending extra time with family and friends out there. Super important, right? Some people decorating for the holidays, not that many though. Okay. All right. We see them come, keep them coming. Also, if you are just joining us, welcome. Please feel free to put your name and where you're from in the chat box. We want to know. And if you want to add a little extra, let us know how the weather is in your area. So you guys are coming in from all across the country. So we want to know your name, where you're located, and what's the weather like where you are. Okay, if you're just now coming in. All right, so the most popular, Justin, it looks like folks are enjoying or looking forward to spending time with family and friends. So that is certainly one of the more important things, right? Okay. Okay. Is that it? Is that all, Justin? Or we got some more?
Yeah, for now that is all. But you feel free to share at the chat box if you guys, have a different choice in mind. That would be great.
All righty. Well, let's get going. So our mission, our mission here at NFI is to transform organizations and communities by equipping them to intentionally and proactively engage fathers in their children's lives. And our vision is for every child to grow up with an involved, responsible, and committed father. Can I get a couple of people to put the word committed in the chat box? Like if that word committed, if that resonates with you when we talk about father engagement, just throw the word committed in the chat box for us. This is meant to be interactive. So we're going to be engaging you guys all afternoon until 4 o'clock. And we're going to throw a quick or share a quick clip with you all here. Some of you may have seen this on TV already.
Chat, how are we feeling about the pancakes?
Pretty mid.
You know what's mid, Bree? Your aura.
You've got to get off the internet, Dad.
Okay, boomer.
You're the boomer.
That's a flex, and that's a flex, and I don't like it.
Can you make him stop?
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. That's sus.
Stop saying sus.
Bussin'.
In the time it takes you to master the slang, you could have bought a Hyundai on Amazon.
Bruh, let me cook. Chat, how
As I was watching that video, I thought to myself, when I get a little older, my kids get a little, they're 3 and 5 and 7 months, but when they start using certain language, I'm not gonna have an idea or clue what they're talking about. But anyways, just a quick introduction. I started this work back in 2017, working with dads, and have had the privilege and honor of serving in the fatherhood space in the Buffalo area primarily, or Western New York, having done some great work just in terms of really helping to advance father inclusion and father involvement. And I was really fortunate and blessed with the opportunity to be able to join NFI, was it last year, almost 2 years now, to help raise awareness amongst human service organizations, providing trainings and resources and all sorts of things so that other programs are able to be successful. But one of the most important things to me is family. Similar to you all mentioned, spending time with family and friends during this time of year. That's one of the most important things to me. And so I have 3 children, 5, 3, and 7 months, almost 7 months this month. And so my wife and I currently reside in the Buffalo area. So, what you all are going to learn and the benefits of today's webinar are the following. So, we're going to talk to you a lot about what the 24/7 Dad program is. So, if you've never heard about it before and you're like, what is this thing that people keep talking about? We're going to tell you. And we're going to talk about its potential and impact. Or potential impact in your community and within your organization. We're going to share some things with you all in terms of how you can implement it and how easy it is to do within your organizations and communities. We're going to talk about a couple of ways to deliver the program, regardless of whether you're face to face with fathers or you're not able to meet in person. So you can go virtual. We're going to tell you a little bit about how you can do those things. And then last but not least, we're going to discover a few ways in terms of how you can integrate the curriculum within some of your existing frameworks and programs. So some of you are already doing some really amazing things out there, we know, and we're going to tell you or show you a few ways of how other partners are incorporating the program within their organization. So we have another, I told you we're going to be interacting with you all day. All right, so we have another chat box question. I'm going to be monitoring it now. But for those of you here today, we want to know, how is your work with fathers currently being supported? And so when we say currently being supported, we want to know, like, are you just starting out? Did you just receive some sort of fatherhood funding support or something like that in order to get started? Or have you been doing this work for a while? And then what experience does your team have in engaging dads within your community? And so when we ask that, we're looking for, has it been a year? Has it been 5 years, 12 years? Tell us how long you've been doing this work for. And again, if you're new, you can say that too. We want to know if you're just getting started. Okay, I see Brett. Yep. My God, we're 20 years and that's a long time. I see Austin, he says he's just getting started. Lance, he says he's new. That's great. Sharon says she's been doing this for 5 years. Ray says 5 years. Wesley, 10 years. Wow. Okay. All right. I see a lot of cool things coming in. Someone said 17 years. There's a lot of experience in this space. And so I love this saying that there's no big eyes and little U's. We're going to be learning from you all at some point, just like you're going to be learning a little bit of things from us. And so this is a really popular infographic that we tend to share from time to time, and it talks about the father absence crisis. And so many of you may have seen this, but as I travel in different spaces, I've learned that not everybody has seen this. So we're going to share it with you. And so if you just take a look in some of your communities and things, you might see the various things going on in our communities. And a lot of that happens sometimes because fathers or children are growing up without an involved, committed, and responsible father. In fact, 1 out of every 4. So as you drive down the street, as you're leaving work today, you count every 4 houses. Statistically, one of those houses or one of those homes has there's a child who doesn't have a father or father figure in their lives. In fact, 9 out of 10 Americans would agree that there is a father absence crisis. So again, when we think about some of the social ills and things going on, like teen pregnancy or infant mortality or just dropout rates, things of that nature, some of that is attributed to the fact that some of our young people are growing up without involved fathers in their lives. Not to take away anything away from moms, but research shows that when children do have involved, responsible, committed fathers in their lives, they do much better, right? They tend to do much better. That's not to take away from our homes where there's just mom and mom's doing her thing. We get that, but when dad is in the picture, children tend to do much, or not much better, but they tend to do better. Okay, and so we know that studies will show that they tend to lead happier, healthy lives. But one of the reasons why the work that we do here at NFI is so critical is because we actually work hand to hand with organizations across the country who may have had a history of being more mother-centric, more focused on mom and baby, and we help them to see how father involvement, father inclusion is possible within their offerings and services. Now, with that being said, we're going to watch a quick testimonial from one of our partners and move forward.
Good morning. My name is Derek Williams, and I'm the Family Services Director here at Vineyard Family Services. We're located in Central Alabama. I am proud to be a part of the NFI family, and I'm proud to had the opportunity to talk about this testimonial this morning. We value what the program has been able to do for us. The information and the books that we use from NFI, such as 24/7 Dad, AM and PM, as well as our Inside Out Dad for incarcerated fathers, has been a tremendous impact on facilitating to our groups. The value is just impeccable. We have seen our fathers actually take this information that was given to them through our parenting skills and life skill classes, and they have also implemented it into their lives. We also have a collaboration here with our family court system here in our county, and they have actually been granted custodial rights as well as visitation rights with their children from taking this fatherhood course that has been, solidified through National Fatherhood Initiative and their breakout sessions. And so we're very thankful. We just want to continue our impact on these fathers by using this curriculum. Our fathers have responded tremendously, and they speak highly of the curriculum because it's such easy access to use with the questionnaires throughout the book. And it actually holds the fathers accountable as they go through the book. And so we're just happy to continue this connection with NFI. We actually have dads also to have went through our program over a year ago, and they liked the curriculum so much that they have continued to come to class weekly, even though they have already had their certificate of completion already done. So the impact that we're having on fathers by using the National Fatherhood Initiative training has just been unbelievable. Like I said, I am happy to be a part of the program. I myself have studied, the breakout sessions on recruiting and retention, how to connect our dads with local child support agencies, how to facilitate and set up groups. So the resources that we have been given by National Fatherhood has just been tremendous, and I just cannot say enough about what they have done for us as a program. And I will continue to use their information, and I thank God for them. And it's nothing more important than seeing a dad being the best version of himself. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
All right, let's see some reactions. What are some reactions from that? There we go. They're coming in.
Good morning.
They're coming in. The Vineyard Services organization, they have been around for many years, but they have been using 24/7 Dad for over a decade now, and so we so appreciate the work that they do. Loving the reactions coming in. So without further ado, the philosophy of the 24/7 Dad program is all around this idea, similar to what Derek mentioned, of really helping dads to become the best versions of themselves, right? Seeing their growth and development as they matriculate and evolve into better fathers, right? More compassionate, more thoughtful and caring of not only their children, but themselves. And last but not least, their environment, their environment, and just respecting everyone and themselves and just having that dignity. And so that is our philosophy, or the philosophy of the 24/7 Dad program. One of the other things that comes up a lot when you start thinking about fatherhood curriculum programs, things of that nature, is whether or not it's evidence-based or informed, or those kind of things. And so we can confidently say over the decades of having it offered as a program, that our 24/7 Dad program is in fact evidence-based. And like Derek mentioned, it's easy to use. It's easy to plug and play and get started. And what I love most about it is there are, similar to Derek, who's doing a knockout job in his area, there are many of you who are superheroes, and you're doing your thing in your area. And so we love to be able to partner with folks across the country who are just being the best versions of themselves for their community and going all out. And so you're able to use the 24/7 Dad program as a tool to be able to do that. And there are many independent studies that have been done. This is not exhaustive by any means, but it does show ways in which the 24/7 Dad program has been evaluated in terms of looking at things like pro-fathering knowledge and skills and attitudes, and also things like the 5 cross-cultural traits of effective fathers. We have more information online if you guys are interested. We have things relative to protective factors, and that's really important, especially when we think about reducing risks of child abuse and neglect. Many of you have programs or services that are all geared toward prevention, and so that it becomes really important, right, for our families or the families that you're serving. And then we also look at things like parental self-efficacy, this belief that fathers can be good parents and confident and all sorts of things, right? There are a plethora of different studies, and people to this day are continuing to use the curriculum in order to do various studies in their areas, okay? So last but not least here, we have training available. So training is super important. It's not required. So for those of you out there that maybe you have purchased the curriculum recently and you're wondering whether or not you need to get your training right away, you have time, okay? You got time, so there's no rush or demand. However, we do have a few different options. So one of those options consists of our on-demand version. We have a live webinar option, which is really popular. And then last but not least, our in-person option, which is my favorite because I get to connect and bond with folks all over the place to talk about the impact of what the curriculum can do in your respective region. Next, we look at things like the three key areas of impact. And this is really nice. It's a newer feature when we think about our fourth edition specifically. And we look at things related to healing. And so many of you, you're doing work, you're bonding, you're looking at things in terms of how to reduce the impact of traumatic experiences and so forth. And so when we think about healing, we're looking at compassionate guidance and mutual support, being able to really meet fathers and families where they are, right? Put ourselves in their shoes. We also look at things related to hope, right? Like hope is huge, and helping fathers really regain their confidence around fathering and their ability to be the kind of parents that they longed for, right? And then last but not least, we look at help. So helping by giving dads practical advice, guidance. We talked about the research of behind 24/7 dad, but again, the most important ingredient, the secret sauce, are the facilitators like you all who would use the curriculum. Here are what I like to think about as 5 pillars of the 24/7 dad curriculum and some of our other curriculum too. But when we talk about the 24/7 dad, we look at these 5 traits. And the first one is self-awareness. We talk about how well does the 24/7 dad know himself, right? Like how well does he do at knowing himself? We also think about or look at things like taking care of himself, right? So I always use the analogy when we're doing our trainings. Are you putting your own oxygen mask on before you're trying to help the person next to you? That's what they tell us on the planes. And so how well am I doing at taking care of myself? The next one is fathering skills. And so we look at very specific, unique contributions that fathers bring to the table. Not that they're better than moms in any way, just different. And so what are those unique contributions or skills that fathers bring to the table? And so the 24/7 dad would ask himself, how well am I doing with my fathering skills? And on the other side, we look at parenting skills. So things that are more general to parents, right? Things that both moms and dads do, and they do really well. My wife just so happens to be the better cook in the house. And so she always gets on me about how much better she is at that than me. And so just looking at these different skills, right, that we have. So the 24/7 dad would ask, how well do I parent? And then last but not least, we look at things related to relationship skills. And so when we say relationship skills, we're looking at how well does the 24/7 dad do when he thinks about not only his household, but the community, maybe his church or some other group that he's affiliated with. How well does he do at being well-rounded and building relationships that enhance his quality of life and those around him? So we have another poll question for you. We're going to keep the questions coming to you. And we want to know which of the 5 characteristics of the 24/7 dad most resonates with you. So you all can jump right in and tell us. The first one I saw was caring for self. See some self-awareness. No one is better than the other, but we want to know which one is like the one that you're like, this one really stood out to me. This is the one that I'm kind of leaning toward. Okay, they're all kind of going neck and neck right now. See, self-awareness is really powerful. For those of you who are able to, and you're whichever one you're choosing, doesn't matter. Once you just throw in the chat box a reason or so why that was yours. Again, there's no wrong answer. This is not a quiz. But if you're able to, once you just throw in the chat box for us, what about that particular trait is important to you? Okay, okay, we see him coming in. So, oh, Jamie said, or Jasmine, I'm sorry, it says self-awareness, good relationships, begin with yourself. Thomas says relationships. Okay, they're coming in quick. Cheryl says, caring for self. Oh, you guys are pretty quick. I'm not even able to get some of the. All right, Tracy says knowing oneself. Love that. Relationship with oneself. Okay. Melvin says know my family and kids. Love that. So appreciate the interaction here. So as you all are throwing your responses in the chat box, we're going to move forward just for the sake of time, because as Justin mentioned in the beginning, we do have an end time. We want to make sure that we start and finish on time. So here is our primary kind of framework when we think about the 24/7 dash. So the first thing that we look at is our self-concept. And so when we think about the program, the 24/7 dash program, we look at this idea that our self-concept is really formed by the messages and thoughts that we have about ourselves. So some of you may have thoughts from childhood, maybe things that you've heard your mother or your uncle or your friend say that has really stood with you, right? Only you know what those things are. And the other thing is our self-esteem. And so for some of us, self-esteem really speaks to the feelings that we have about ourselves, and those things can also come from way back when, right? Like when we grew up, and some of you are really confident out there, and some of us may be like in between. I don't know, but that really has a lot to do with how we feel or how one feels about themselves. But when we look at both of those things together, the thoughts and feelings together, they really determine our behavior. And so our goal when we think about the 24/7 Dad program is to create positive experiences that build a child's self-esteem and self-concept. And so many of you probably heard this statement before, but it's hard to pour from an empty cup, right? And so as the father goes, as his self-worth goes, excuse me, so goes the self-worth of his children. And so we want fathers to be confident, not arrogant, confident and have positive self-worth so that they can then help their children have a positive sense of self-worth. For those of you out there, put a one in the chat box if that makes sense. We're having fathers with positive self-worth and their childs have a positive self-worth. If that makes sense to you, just go ahead and throw a one in the chat box for us. So as we move forward, we want you all to know there is no secret. There are two different versions of the 24/7 Dad program. There is an AM version and there's a PM version. For those of you who have one or both, you have that experience. But the AM, we really think of a more foundational kind of pro-fathering knowledge and attitudes and skills. That is the basis. I like to think about that as 101. And PM is more advanced. So that's like 102 p.m. We get into more advanced conversations or type topics, and we also look at things relative to profiling knowledge, attitudes, and skills. But each of the versions they stand alone, but they can be used together. And so what one of the programs does here in New York State is they will start off with the AM, and then right toward the tail end, when dads are getting a little antsy, and they're like, we don't want to stop doing these sessions, they say, hey, listen, we got a PM for you. So they can actually be combined together. And so for most organizations, when they complete the AM and they combine them, then they'll go right into the PM. But both versions build the five cross-cultural traits, and both of them have the five characteristics. As we move forward and look at things related to the description and format, particularly for the group base, it follows a consistent format of 12 or 13 weeks. And each of the sessions are about 2 hours. Right, we have in here that it lasts for 2 hours, but sometimes people can end a little sooner, or they can go over a little more. Sometimes if you have some talkers in a room, right, you got to settle them down so that you're not there all night, or however, whatever time you're running the program. Or maybe you have a group that is really quiet, and so maybe they might go sooner. But each session will last for about 2 hours. And they're typically delivered one session per week, but you can do two sessions per week. So, for example, here in Buffalo, when we were doing our fatherhood groups, we would do every Tuesday and Thursday from 5 o'clock p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. So when we would run the groups every 2 weeks. Or if you're like, hey, listen, I don't have that much time, then you could just do 1 week. And each session follows a consistent adult learning format. And so it really helps dads to grasp what's going on in each session. And when we think about group sizes, we get this question sometimes, and people will say, "Hey, Antoine, well, what's the minimum or what's the maximum? What does it take to get started with a group in terms of numbers?" Well, we recommend no more than about 10 to 12 dads per group. You can have less than that, you can have a little bit more. Just realize that the management will be maybe a little bit more cumbersome if you have more guys in a group than fewer. But nonetheless, if you have two facilitators, we typically recommend two facilitators, then it really helps when you think about the management of that group. But also realize that you can run a group with just one person, and that works perfectly fine too. Now, one of the really fun and cool things that we did this year when we introduced the fourth edition was we added a one-on-one version. And so for those of you out there that were like, we need a one-on-one version for our home visiting program, or we want to do some mentoring, just working with an individual dads, we heard you and we have the one-on-one available. And so similar to the group version, it follows a consistent 12 or 13 week format. But there's no time stamp on the groups like in the group version. So where the group version, we said it typically lasts about 2 hours, this is a little different. And so you could be in a session with the dad and it could last maybe 30 minutes to an hour or something. It really just depends on how the conversation is going and how long it takes you to get through the content. It just goes a lot quicker. But in this way, you can meet with the dad once a week, twice a week. You could meet with him 3 times a week if you want. When you're doing one-on-one, it makes your time with that dad a lot more flexible, and you all can really determine how often you'll see each other. Similar though to the group version, it follows a consistent format that maximizes adult learning and so forth. And again, it's really ideal for those programs out there, those of you who are serving within programs that are doing case management, home visiting, mentorship, anything that is more ideal one-on-one. This is a curriculum that you want to use, and it does complement the group-based version. And so for those of you who may already be running that are already running groups and you're like, I need Joe to do a follow-up session. Well, the one-on-one format really helps when you have to do follow-up sessions. So just keep that in mind. Here are some components that come in your kit. So if you were wondering, hey, Antoine, we like what you're talking about, but we don't really know what's all in this kit. Well, here is the answer. So whether we're talking about the group-based version or the one-on-one version of the AM or PM, there's always going to be a facilitator's manual, including the program guide and sessions. There's going to be one fathering handbook included. So for those of you who are considering using 24/7 Dad, the 24/7 Dad program, you're probably going to want to get some more handbooks, but you can, figure out how many you'll need. Well, one of the things that we did, I think it was last year sometime, is we phased out completely our flash drive. And so there are many of you out there like, we can't use flash drives anymore because we got to buy converters to do all these different things. Well, we got your back because we're not doing flash drives anymore, but we have a link that folks can use to get all the material that you need. And one of the unique things about the fourth edition is that it actually includes a PowerPoint slide deck. So we have a Spanish version included in that, and it's available for the AM and PM version. And we have some of our colleagues on there who were able to do a couple of videos for the slides and so forth. We also have some things in there related to handouts and surveys and all these other things. So there's a lot of material, a lot of resources that we provide you so that you can do what you need to do with the program. Here are a couple of different formats. So earlier I talked about the fact that you can run the group once a week or twice a week. So if you did it once a week, that's your 12 weeks. If you're saying, no, we want to reduce that time a little bit, then it's 6 weeks because you're going to do 2 sessions per week. Maybe you're like, neither one of those work for me, and we want to go a little longer. Well, you can do a half session per week for 24 weeks. And if you're really daring and you want to do something cool, you can do a weekend retreat or something and do 6 sessions per 3 day weekend for 2 weekends. So there's so many different ways that you can use the curriculum in order to fit within your program the format that you need. And this folds in well in terms of how to implement the 24/7 Dad program in your area. Again, no one knows your community like you. You all are the superheroes, the gurus of your programs. You know what you all need best. And so again, realize that the program can be offered in virtual it could be offered virtually or in person. And so if you're in an environment and you have access to space and resources, whether it be your organization or a community center or a library, whatever the case may be, you can meet in person. Great. It allows for a great experience where you all can break bread and have food and drinks and really create a welcoming environment that is conducive and a safe space for the 24/7 Dad program to run it. But if you are in a space where you're like, well, our dads are spread out, maybe you're in a more rural community or setting, or you're like, our dads just don't have transportation to get to the program, or maybe you're in an area where it's getting cold and snowy, and you're like, Antoine, these guys are not coming out here in this kind of weather, like in Buffalo where I am, then you might want to go virtual. So just realize that you have the option to do whatever works for you. You can even do a hybrid. You can meet in person and virtual, whatever works best for you. Know that if you go the virtual route, know that you're gonna want to review the session guide before each session. You're gonna want to make sure that all of your technology is right where it needs to be so that you're able to sign on and do what you need to do for your session. Guys can also be in the same room and you can meet virtually with them that way. So maybe you might say, hey, listen, everybody meet at the local library and we're gonna have a camera, but we're gonna be facilitating virtually. Realize that if you do your groups virtual, you're going to need to think a little ahead of time and plan out how you're going to get the handbook to each dad. And so, what many organizations will do is they'll mail them out once they get them ahead of time, maybe like a few days or a week before. And they also can get assistance from us. And so, realize that we can ship books directly to dads if that's something that you want to do. This image that you see on the left-hand side of the screen is an image of the 4-week guide, how to deliver 24/7 dad within 4 weeks. So if you're like, hey, listen, we don't want to do 6 weeks or 12 weeks, you can actually get it done in 4 weeks if that's something that you're able to do. Now, for those of you who are getting started, you're like, hey, listen, we want to do this. We're gonna start our groups next week. Realize that you can do open and closed enrollment. I'll talk a little bit about what the closed enrollment means first. So that basically just means that once guys register and they've started joining your groups, you're going to cut registration off or stop people from enrolling in your group. So maybe after that first session, maybe after the second one, you're like, hey, listen, we can't accept any more folks into this group, and you'll have to be on a waiting list until next time. Research has shown that that has been more impactful in terms of helping to support that safe space where guys feel open and vulnerable or transparent to share what's going on with them. But people also have done groups in an open enrollment format. So basically what that means is that it's on a rolling basis. People are constantly able to come in and out of your group when they need to. Just be aware that when dads do that, that it can create some difficulty when it comes to building trust. And so for those who may not be as open to share, usually if they see new people coming in, they may feel a little bit more apprehensive. Also realize that it may be more difficult to build off of previous sessions if Joe was coming in week 3 and he's not heard anything that has happened before. Finally, if you're looking to administer some of the assessments or the pre and post assessments, realize that that might be challenging for you if you have someone coming in week 6 or something like that. Now, here is a quick video that we typically would show before or during each of the sessions. So in the PowerPoint, you'll see one of these videos in each of the sessions offered.
Greetings. My name is Christopher Brown, President of National Fatherhood Initiative, the organization that created this program. Congratulations on starting the 24/7 Dad AM program. In doing so, you've joined the thousands of fathers nationwide who have completed the program or are participating in it right now. You've taken an important step toward becoming the father you want to be and, most importantly, that your children need you to be. This first session is called Family History. You'll learn more about the program and its format. You'll reflect on the impact that the family in which you grew up had on the father you are today. Most importantly, you'll learn about the 5 traits of a 24/7 dad that are the foundation of this program. I'm confident that you'll leave this session hopeful and excited about the journey toward becoming a 24/7 dad.
All right. All right. So here are some topics that are typically covered in each of the versions. So whether we're talking about the AM or PM, there are typically some foundational topics that are covered. So in the very first one, we're going to look at or cover things relative to family history. We look at things related to what it means to be a man, showing and handling feelings. That's always a powerful one. Men's health, communication, working with mom and dad, co-parenting, children's growth, all these different topics we talk about through the various sessions. One of the things that often comes up is, well, Antoine, how flexible is the curriculum when it comes to, outliers, maybe things that might come up relative to the subject matter or so forth. And we welcome you all to you know, add in, right? Again, like I mentioned earlier, you know your community best. You have the secret sauce. When that happens, when things may deviate or whatever the case may be, you go into whatever the conversation may be, find a way to reel folks back so that they don't go too far off the ledge. But do know that there is flexibility when it comes to each of the sessions, but you want to make sure that you're covering all the material. So with that being said, in the chat box, we want to know from you which of these topics most resonate with you. So I'm going to bring it back here just so you're able to see the screen. But in the chat box, we want to see which of these topics are like, you're like, man, that's a really good topic or at least subject that I want to get into. We want to hear from you guys. Okay, Tracy says communication. Christopher says showing and handling feelings. Okay. Davion says communication. Eric says, oh, they're coming in too fast. I'm losing you. Jasmine says co-parenting, working with mom. Good. Johnny says co-parenting. All right, all right, all right. Keep them coming. So as you all are throwing your topics in there, we have some more topics. So if you say, hey, listen, we want to know more about the topics in PM, here's your wish come true. So in the PM version, we talk about fathering a 24/7 dad, boyhood to manhood, dealing with anger. That's always a big one. Guys always feel more comfortable with talking about their relationship with anger versus any of the other emotions that we talk about. Knowing myself, family ties, power and control, improving my communication, fun with the kids, all these different things are covered in PM. So if you're like, hey, we want to know more of this, then you got to check out the curriculum at some point. And I believe we are going to offer some sample material for you all. And there's certainly some available. So let us know if you are interested. But we do have a quick story from a gentleman who went through the 24/7 Dad program that we want to share with you.
Mike, my name is Mike. I was born in Galveston, and I had lived like everywhere in Galveston County. I had just got so custody of my kids, so that's a blessing. I got 2 boys, 1 girl, and 1 boy on the way. For 7 dads is basically dads get together and they help each other, give each other ideas how to be there for our kids and our family emotionally, physically, and what we could do better for each other. My parents had separated when I was like 9 years old. My dad never had no good father figure or no role model, so it was hard for him to raise us. So my grandma helped them, and my aunt sometimes helped, and yeah. Well, they had given creative ideas on how to discipline and then just be more interactive with my kids, like I go outside, go play with them more, just do more family things. How I always thought was always get whoopings and stuff like that. See, now I talk to them, put some time out, or instead of just whoop them all the time, just try to figure out what's going on with them. They always got a smile on their face. They're always happy. They're full of energy. I'm their favorite parent. We start reading the Bible more. We start going to my grandpa. My grandpa been doing Bible study, I think, for like over 40 years. So he's pretty heavy in the Bible. So he's been giving us pointers and everything. So, and now we're getting the kids to pray now before they go to sleep, when they eat their meals and everything. So because we spend more time together, we learn new things. Get my GED and then either go into business or be an inspector. My long term, I want to get a good career and I want to own a house or a piece of property so I can build a house. We plan on getting married. I want to say just give it a chance because I thought it was just a women's group and they had invited me in and I had learned a lot from them. Even for 24/7 dads, I wish more dads would go to it and just give it a try. It really helps. It does really help.
I'm loving the reactions that I'm seeing in the I don't know what you call it, not the chat box, but for those of you who are, I can't ask you for a reaction because you're already given so many of them. But if there was anything in there that resonated with you, just throw it in the chat box. We want to hear. That's what it's all about. The curriculum is great. It has a lot of potential and impact in terms of how you can use it. But again, you all that are in the field working with dads like Mike is what it is all about. Changing generations, helping dads become better versions of themselves. That's what it's about because Mike, similar his story, he's going to go on to raise a son that is a better father, I'm sure, than he is. And it's supposed to just get better, right? And so that is really what this is all about. And so let's talk really briefly about integrating the 24/7 Dad program in your organizations, right, to maximize your impact. So some ways that our partners across the country have done it, we look at programs like the Community Coordinated Child Care Program based in Louisville. And one of the things that they did was they incorporated 24/7 Dad in their case management services. And so when they were referring dads to housing opportunities, employment opportunities, they also will help them with or through the 24/7 Dad program. So what they incorporated. We also think about or look at programs like the BCFS Healthy Human Services Organization in Texas. And so they offer the 24/7 Dad program along with their mentorship program. So when they're providing dads with support in the area of, drug addiction, or maybe those who were formerly incarcerated, they're helping them with the 24/7 Dad program to become better fathers. And then last but not least, there are many organizations out there. We could only talk about so many in this webinar today. There are probably many organizations out there that are on a call now that you all have incorporated into your services. But we also look at or think about the Washington, D.C. Housing Authority. And so they have incorporated the 24/7 Dad program in their efforts to reduce those who don't have adequate housing. And so they're helping to not only give fathers and families the housing support they need, but they help them to increase their family stability through the 24/7 Dad program. We have about 10 minutes left, at least on time. We are almost at the finish line. So I so appreciate those of you who have been staying with us, engaging in the chat box, throwing your emojis. We so appreciate you all. One of the things that is really powerful, though, with the 24/7 Dad program is the Fatherhood Pledge. So for those of you who might have pledged in a fraternity or sorority, something like that, like you probably get some of this, right? Where there's that sense of brotherhood or togetherness. There is this Fatherhood Pledge that we have as a resource in the link. So each and every one of you who would get access to the link and so forth, you'll see it in there. But the dads really are able to make this public declaration together, right? And so the thing about making those public commitments is when we do them, we're more likely to follow through. How many of you have told your partner or spouse or your kids, hey, I'm gonna take you to the park next week or this weekend? And then they're like, hey, dad or mom, you said you're gonna take me to the park, right? So you made a public commitment, and they're looking for you to make good on it, right? So this pledge really helps dads as they journey through the program. And the really cool part about it is you can use it whenever you want. So if you want dads to say the pledge in the very beginning together, they can do that. If you want them to do it toward the at the end of every session, or maybe just at graduation, you can do that however you want. And nonetheless, it's going to be a powerful experience. We at NFI have some really great resources. I always joke with Eric or any of other team members and say, I took advantage of all the things that were on your website and the free resources, all these things, before I even realized how great the curriculum was, like Inside Out Dad or 24/7 Dad programs. And so for those of you who are out there and you're like, we want to learn more about NFI, well, feel free to check out our website. And we have a bunch of information on there about how you can use some of our resources to help strengthen your father inclusion efforts. Like the infographic that I shared with you in the very beginning, we have that and a few more on there that you can use. You can download, you can print it out, do whatever you need to. We have some videos in there that talk about the father inclusion. So about the stages of father inclusion. That's one of the newer things that we have that will add value to the work that you want to do or are looking to do with dads. We also have a couple of resources related to the father-friendly checkup. So for those of you who are out there and you're like, what is a father-friendly checkup? Well, then you got to check out our website and you'll find out. But you'll find that it is a really good resource when you think about your organizational capacity and the way in which you can improve your father-serving efforts. And then last but not least, we have other things related to our trainings and brochures. We got a lot of stuff. I'm running out of breath, so I'm going to let you go online and check it out when you have time. So here we are. Here we are. I feel great because I'm getting you all out on time. For those of you who, maybe you had a hard stop at 4 o'clock, it is 3:53, at least East Coast time. And so now is the time for your questions. We want to know what's on your mind. Like Justin mentioned, we are going to give 10 extra minutes after the 4 o'clock hour to be able to do some more questions. But here is the time, or now is the time that we want to take your questions.
Antoine, we did have one that came up a couple of times related to what is our perspective on female facilitators of the 24/7 Dad program?
That is a great question. So I was gonna joke and say something, but that's a great question. So that comes up from every now and then. And one of the things that I always say, which is really true, that there are some female facilitators in the field that run circles around me every day. And so we actually talk about in our training the fact that when there is a male female pair of facilitators, that it can actually be is has been proven to be very effective. And so for those ladies out there, and you're wondering whether or not you can add value to the field or help impact the life of a father, just like you saw on Mike, know that it is possible and people are doing it every day. So we really appreciate those of you who are interested in serving dads, no matter where you are or what organization you're with. So. Great question. All right. Is anyone, I'm losing that. It's Clarence is asking, is anyone currently hosting virtual classes that I can observe? So that is a great question. And actually, I would throw that back at this group because I'm sure that there are some people on this call that are probably going to be running groups sometime soon. So if there are any of you here that are going to be doing groups, feel free to let Clarence know. Unfortunately, Clarence, I don't know any specifically right now, otherwise I would tell you. But if anyone is, then Clarence actually put his telephone number in the chat box so you can connect with him and let him know what's going on. I see a question from Derek. He says, how can this curriculum be successfully pitched to faith-based community? Finance is a big issue. Yep. So we get it. Yeah, absolutely. So we actually have what's known as a pitch kit available, no cost to you, and we can get it to you so that you can talk about the curriculum. And while it's not free, it is cost effective, and so we try to take those things into considerations. For there are many faith-based communities or organizations who use the 24/7 Dad program in their ministries and are doing great work to help serve dads. In fact, I got a call just yesterday from a gentleman from a faith-based community. So people do it all the time. Oh, I'm hearing some keyboard clicking in the back. No problem though. Another question. I don't want to mess up your name, so I'm not going to, but your question was, what is the difference between Profathering 15, I'm assuming, and 24/7 Dad curriculum contents wise? That's a great question. So when we think about the two and content wise, so Profathering 15, for those of you who may not be aware of that one, it is more a short-term program that we offer. And the idea is that a father can sit down, self-pace, and be able to get through the content in 15 minutes. So it's meant to be more, whenever folks have time to indulge. So it could be before work, it can be after bedtime, after dad's put his kids down or something like that. But the topics, there are many actually. Justin or Melissa or anyone else on the call, if you have a link or so, maybe we can share that in the chat box so you can actually look at some of the topics. But some of many of the topics overlap with each other, but you're going to find that they don't have exactly the same thing in them. But there are many topics that overlap with each other, and we can get you some information on that. Christopher asks, I may have missed this, but the AM program, 6 sessions, and then if we offer the PM program, would that be another 6 sessions? Yes, I'm assuming that you're meaning what you mean by that is if you do AM and you run it for twice a week, 6 weeks, then that's your AM version time or that program. And then if you do PM, then you would do another 6 weeks where you would, twice a week. Yes. So if that's what you mean, Christopher, then yes, you would do 6 weeks with AM, 6 weeks with PM. Great question. Tracy asks, when is the next in-person virtual course? Okay, so I'm assuming you're referring to our live webinar one. So we are looking at January. Melissa or Justin, do either of you have the exact date on that one again? But we are looking at a January date for the next one.
That one is January 27th.
Okay, thank you, Eric. So we have that. Mary says, can you share today's PowerPoint? You all will get today's PowerPoint from us very soon. Ramona says, is there a link for the faith-based information? I would say to connect with us, Ramon, for more information about how to integrate this within the faith-based communities.
Yeah,
Oh,
one
and
thing, Antoine, I would mention, we do have what we call guiding light handouts that are basically scriptural overlays for each of the 12 sessions. And that's something that we could provide in a PDF.
thank you, Eric. We have another question. How often are the trainings? So if you're referring to the public trainings, they are, as of right now, going to be offered on a quarterly basis. So the live webinar public trainings offered on a quarterly basis, if that's what you were referring to. Another question. Okay, Derek said that he definitely wants to overlay. Floyd says, yes, send me the slides. Yeah, you'll definitely get the slides. So we are at the 4 o'clock hour. So for those of you who have to go, we just want to thank you again so much for being with us this afternoon. We know that you could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here. So for those of you who are still with us, give a hand to yourself for just showing up and being willing to share this space with us and learn and grow together. Like I said, there's no big I's and little U's. So we at NFI just appreciate you all for being here and joining us today. And like I mentioned, we're going to give some extra time for those of you who are here and you have time to go a little further. I'm actually going to share this other slide with you. But yeah, if you have time, we appreciate the thank yous. We thank you all for joining us. A few people have their hand raised. Justin, I'm not sure whether or not they're going to be able to speak though, right?
Right, they won't be able to speak since it is a public webinar, but feel free to put your questions over on chat. We'll try to read some of them out loud if that would help.
It looks like a lot of people are interested in the faith-based overlay. And just as a clarification, that is specifically for Pro-Fathering 15 and for Inside Out Dad. There is not currently one available for 24/7 Dad. Those were created in partnership with other partners that wanted to create a faith-based overlay. And so we're able to provide them. But we
Melissa,
only
I do have overlays for 24/7 Dad
Oh,
as well.
excuse me. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. I do see a question here in the chat. What is the key differences with AM and PM? And so I just want to holler out that it doesn't have anything to do with morning and evening. I've gotten that question before. Nothing about morning and evening. What are the key differences, Antoine? Oh, you're on mute.
Oops, sorry. Thank you. Yeah, so I would say to your question, Eric, the key difference is going to be the topics, and we usually refer to the AM as more of the foundational one, meaning that if like you came to us and asked which one of these would you suggest that I start first, we would tell you the AM, and it's because it has more foundational topics that are general to dads, right? And it's going to be a good launching pad in terms of the way in which you would, have conversations around fathering. And so, again, the biggest thing is going to be the topics being, advanced versus not so advanced in AM. So, good question though. And Eric and Melissa, if you guys have anything to add, feel free.
A couple of people asked about third edition. So third edition is in fact obsolete from the facilitator's manual perspective. We launched the fourth edition earlier this year. So we will support third edition users with the handbooks that we have available still, the fathering handbooks that are used for the third edition. You can still purchase those. And that will be until May of 2026 or until we run out. We do have a large inventory of them, but if you plan on running the third edition for a while still, you may want to stock up on some of those handbooks because when they're gone, they'll be gone. There's a question in the chat. Are there sections geared towards expecting fathers?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Who had that question? Oh, Davion.
Yes.
Hopefully I'm saying that right. So that's a great question. And what I would say is that that's one of more of those nuanced things where like depending on the subject of the day, the topic of the session, it may be really easy for you to integrate some things around expectant fathers. So while AM or PM is not specific to expectant fathers, if you're primarily serving expectant fathers, then you probably want to bring in some information that is going to be relevant to dads who are expectant. That's kind of what I would suggest. So in the short answer, no. But again, know that you can add so that expectant fathers have what they need.
Absolutely. We encourage folks to, customize the program to the extent where you add additional content. So if you are, working with dads that have a certain need, you can add additional, resources for them to use. D Major would like to know the differences between 24/7 Dad, Pro Fathering 15, and Inside Out Dad. Great question.
You are challenging us today, aren't you? So, I'll address 24/7 dad and inside out dad first. So when we think about those two, typically when folks are looking at either 24/7 dad or inside out dad, we kind of will find out what setting or environment they're going to be facilitating in. So for those partners of ours who maybe are in like corrections or jails and so forth, we would suggest inside out dads is more appropriate for them. It's more geared for fathers who are incarcerated and so forth. Know that the topics are going to be similar. So that's like the difference. Whereas 24/7 dad, it can be used for dads who are incarcerated, but it is also widely used more so with just community dads, folks who are just, general public kind of deal versus inside out dad. And then when it comes to Pro Fathering 15, again, we would usually suggest that one for folks that might say, well, I don't have 2 hours. I got a very short period of time and maybe resources are not exactly where we need them to be. And so Pro Fathering 15 tends to be a lot more cost effective. Again, there are 15 topics. Not all of them are exactly the same as the other two that I mentioned, but that one is for groups that may not have a ton of time to facilitate or may want dads to do some self-paced work.
Yeah, and D Major also mentioned Head Start programs. So we have Head Starts that use 24/7 Dad, and we have Head Starts that use Pro Fathering 15. So it just really depends on how much time you have as staff to invest in delivering a program. So with 24/7 Dad, you need someone to deliver it, whether it's in person, one-on-one, group-based, or virtually. But with Pro Fathering 15, that costs just $15 per dad. There's 15 topics. Each topic takes 15 minutes. The dad can do it on his own. He can do it with you. You can meet up together to do it. There's lots of options with that. So some similar content. Obviously, with only 15 minutes on each topic, you can't go as deep on the topics, right? 24/7 Dad is 2 hours each session. There's interaction among the participants. There's interaction with you as a facilitator. So it's just a different program for you to use with different dads in different situations. Some people use Pro Fathering in 15 as a ramp up before 24/7 Dad is actually going to be held in their program. So it's something to keep the dad engaged and involved and starting to learn about fatherhood topics, but then, the dad would eventually join a 24/7 Dad program. Does 24/7 Dad work for parents in recovery facilities, or do any of the other programs work better?
Yeah, that's a good question. And we have again groups that are in that kind of a setting too. In fact, I think one that I mentioned earlier today, they serve dads who are in situations like that. But It absolutely can work. And again, it goes back to something that Melissa said in terms of customizing. And so if you are, primarily going to be serving parents and dads who are in the recovery kind of setting, then you want to make sure that you're being mindful of the kind of things that you'll want to add to add value to those parents or those dads there. But it can absolutely be effective with those groups.
Someone had asked if there's any updates or webinars coming for key behaviors. So 24/7 Dad Key Behaviors Workshop is the final program other than Understanding Dad, which is for moms, that we didn't talk about today. We don't have anything particular planned for key behaviors. It's still a fairly fresh program that we launched a few years ago. And we do have facilitator training available in our academy. So if you are going to run the key behaviors or 24/7 Dad, we also have training in our academy. So that is hopefully an answer for Floyd's question.
Righty. Yeah, well, I was gonna say we have one more minute left, but we have
I
no
think
more
that's
minutes
it.
left.
Yeah, we used those extra 10 minutes well. So thank you, everyone.
Yes, yes. Thank you again all so much. We hope to be able to reconnect with you all sometime in the near future. Again, if you have other questions that you weren't able to ask now, feel free to grab my email address or phone number and you can connect with me offline. We'd be more than happy to address any of your questions and figure out how we can support your work. Any last minute things, Justin, if you're still with us?
Right. So we do have a post survey, as I've mentioned before, and we will try to include all of the mentioned resources here in this webinar today in our follow-up email. Yes, there is a follow-up email for all of you. So stay tuned on your emails. So thank you again, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.